The cargo hauler Steadfast drifted through the Arcturus belt like a ghost, its hull scarred by decades of micrometeorite impacts. Inside, Jixon sat alone in the cockpit, his weathered hands dancing across ancient controls as he plotted another route through empty space. 45 years old, and he'd spent 30 of them between stars talking to no one but his ship's AI. Proximity alert, the computer chirped. Distress beacon detected. Origin, Draconian Empire vessel. Jixon's fingers froze. The Draconians, 7-foot-tall reptilian warriors whose empire spanned half the known galaxy. They didn't send distress signals. They conquered, dominated, destroyed. For one of their ships to be in trouble meant something catastrophic had occurred. Plot intercept course, he said quietly. The derelict Draconian cruiser hung dead in space, its sleek obsidian hull cracked open like an egg. Jixon maneuvered the Steadfast alongside, extending his docking tube to the only intact airlock. Every regulation, every survival instinct screamed at him to flee. But 30 years alone in the black had taught him one thing. Sometimes you needed to be human even when it was stupid. The airlock hissed open. Emergency lighting bathed everything in crimson. Jixon moved cautiously through corridors littered with debris and bodies. Draconian warriors, elite soldiers, all dead. Whatever had killed them had been thorough. He found her in what remained of the royal quarters. Princess Anna of the 7th Flame dynasty sat against a bulkhead, her scales shimmering between deep emerald and sapphire even in the dim light. Blood, dark purple, nearly black, stained her ceremonial armor. Her golden eyes locked onto him, and despite everything, Jixon felt his breath catch. She was beautiful in a way that transcended species, regal and fierce even in defeat. "A human," she said in perfect standard. Her voice carried the resonance of her kind like thunder rolling across mountains. "Come to scavenge?" "Come to help," Jixon replied, raising his hands. "I'm a hauler, not a pirate." "You're hurt. My guard is dead. My ship is dead. I am—" She paused, pride warring with pragmatism. "In need of extraction." Jixon knelt beside her, examining the wound in her side. His med scanner beeped frantically. "This needs treatment now. My ship has a med bay." "You would take a Draconian aboard?" Suspicion edged her words. "Our peoples are not allies." "Your people leave mine alone because we're not worth conquering," Jixon said with a slight smile. "Makes us neutral. And I've been alone too long to let someone die when I can help." Something shifted in her eyes. Recognition, perhaps, of a kindred loneliness. Getting her to the Steadfast took an hour. Anna was taller than him, heavier with muscle and armored scales, but she bore her pain in silence. Jixon's med bay was designed for humans, but he improvised, using the ship's fabricator to create specialized equipment based on her biological scans. "Your vessel is modest," Anna observed as he worked, her tone careful, not quite mocking. "She's home," Jixon said simply. "Only home I've got. No mate? No clutch?" He laughed, bitter and brief. "In this line of work? I've docked at 1,000 stations and never stayed long enough to know anyone's name. Ships like mine, we're the forgotten ones. The universe moves on while we stay in transit." Anna watched him with those luminous eyes. "I understand. My marriage was arranged for political alliance. When the assassination attempt came, my betrothed fled, leaving my guard to die protecting his escape. Even a princess can be alone in a crowded empire." Their eyes met, and Jixon saw something unexpected. Not pity, but recognition. The wound sealed over the next 6 hours. Anna's regenerative biology did most of the work. Jixon's equipment simply accelerated it. They talked through the long stellar night, two lonely souls who'd found each other in the vast dark. She told him of court intrigues and the weight of royal duty. He shared stories of ice hauling near dead stars and the peculiar beauty of nebulae at dawn. "Where will you go?" Jixon asked as she stood, testing her strength. "I cannot return home. They will try again, and I have no guard, no allies." Anna looked around the small ship, then at him. "You have room for crew?" "I've never needed." "Perhaps," she interrupted, stepping closer, "you have simply never had the right offer." Her hand, clawed and scaled, touched his cheek with surprising gentleness. "I am trained in navigation, weapons, diplomacy, and 17 forms of combat. I can earn my passage. And if your empire comes looking, then you will have the protection of a dragon princess, however disgraced." She smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth that should have been terrifying but somehow weren't. Unless you prefer your solitude? Jixin looked into her eyes and saw the same fear he'd carried for decades, the fear of dying alone in the dark, of never mattering to another living soul. His whole life he'd convinced himself he was fine alone, that he didn't need connection, companionship, love. He'd been lying. The quarters are small, he said carefully. We'd have to share space. I am accustomed to worse. Anna's smile softened. And Jixin? Thank you for seeing someone who needed help, not an enemy to fear. Thank you for staying. That night, as the Steadfast jumped to hyperspace with a new course plotted, away from empires and toward frontier worlds where questions weren't asked, Jixin sat in the cockpit with Anna beside him. Her scales caught the light of passing stars, and when her hand found his, neither pulled away. For the first time in 30 years, he wasn't alone. And for the first time in her life, neither was she. The universe was vast and cold and uncaring. But in the small warmth of the Steadfast, two lonely souls had found something that made the darkness bearable. Each other. And